Well, good evening, OCPS families. I am so happy that you were able to join us this evening. We are very excited to be able to share with you some wonderful admissions reps and director of admissions for our private Florida University's admissions panel tonight. My name is Victoria Tierney. I'm the Senior Administrator for Family and Community Engagement for Orange County Public Schools. And I want to welcome to our panel our wonderful presenters tonight. So we have with us from St. Leo University, we have Francie Carrasquillo, who's going to be joining us. And Francie is the Assistant Director of Undergraduate Admissions. We also would like to welcome from the University of Miami, Mr. Charles Kamek, who is the Director of Recruitment. We have with us from the Florida Institute of Technology, Jordan Dahan, who's the admissions counselor. And from Florida Southern College, we want to welcome Emily Bowers. And I have Matthew Dutton, who is the admissions counselor from Flagler College. So welcome, everyone. Good evening. It's so glad to have you here. Tonight, we're going to start our admissions panel. Each presenter is going to have approximately 10 minutes to share with you information about their university. If you have a question specific to that school that's presenting, please feel free to go ahead and put the questions in the chat. I will be monitoring while they're presenting. If it's a general question that just relates to college admissions in general, we will save those questions for when we finish all the presentations, and then we can go ahead and pose those questions to the entire panel. So welcome, everyone. We're going to go ahead and ask everyone to get started. So we're going to go ahead and start with Francie. Francie, I'm going to go ahead and let you begin to share your screen.
So, good evening, everyone. My name is Francie, and I'm one of the assistant directors of undergrad enrollment from St. Leo University. I was born and raised in Puerto Rico. Just to give you a little background about me, I worked the territories of Central Florida, South Florida, and Puerto Rico, and I'm pursuing my master's degree at St. Leo University as well. My contact information is linked right there, so if you would like to take a picture, you're more than welcome to do so. I never sleep, so feel free to reach out whenever. So just to give you a quick spiel about what St. Leo is all about, St. Leo is a private liberal arts Catholic university located in Tampa, Florida. We are the oldest Catholic university in the state of Florida, founded in 1889. Now, just because St. Leo is Catholic, that does not mean that you have to be Catholic to attend St. Leo. It's not mandatory to go to Sunday Mass or attend any religious activities on campus. But we do have core values that relate to the religion, such as community, excellence, integrity, personal development, respect, and responsible stewardship. The good thing about St. Leo University is that we are a very small school. We have around 1,200 students, 1,300 students on campus, and classrooms range between 15 to 20 students. We usually see that our classes decrease as further you go into your degree from 12 to maybe even 8 students. The good thing about St. Leo that our top degrees are criminal justice, biology, computer science, psychology, management, and nursing. So the good thing about St. Leo as well is that we are a very diverse school. We have around 975 international students at the moment. And the good thing about St. Leo is that over 100 countries are represented and 46 states are represented as well. For our campus experience, we have over 60 clubs and organizations. Now, let's say you don't find the club that you're interested in being part of, you can create your own club at St. Leo University. And we also have Greek life on campus. We don't have Greek housing, but we do have Greek life. The good thing about St. Leo in our athletics, that we're a Division II school. So if you're interested in pursuing any sports, you're more than welcome to ask away. Send me an email and ask about those sports that we have. For health and wellness, we have our wellness center that has counseling services for all of our students. We also have university ministry, and we offer different um, working out or exercising classes, and we also have personal trainers on campus. For student life, we host 3 to 4 events during the week so our students can stay engaged and socialize with our community as one of our core values. For student support, we do have the Center of Academic Vision and Excellence. Essentially, it's like a tutoring service. So let's say you're having problems with math, English, or any of our classes, you can definitely ask one of our professors or one of the students who have passed the class to help you out through this process and help you ace that class. We also have student success coaches, which are the individuals that would help you create your schedule and make sure that you take your classes from 12 to 5 or take your classes from 8 to 12. Or if you're pursuing sports, they create your schedule so you don't miss on your practices or miss out on your classes. So these are the colleges that St. Leo has at the moment, and these are the listed degrees. I will have some information later on about our programs, but the good thing about St. Leo University is that we do believe in experiential learning, meaning that you have to go through different experiences in order for you to apply those in the real world. For example, we are the #1 school in the state of Florida for criminal justice. We have a crime scene house on campus that they do blood splatter analysis, DNA tracing, and solve different mock stage crime scenes. Same thing for nursing. We do have a multi-simulator lab that has like a delivery room, a lab tech room, and we have a room full of dummies. And then you'll practice your nursing experience before you do your clinical hours at Advent Health hospitals across Florida. For our education program and other programs related to business, we use our virtual avatar experience for students who go through different meetings or classroom settings before they engage those in the real world or in their internship opportunities. So all of our programs have that unique essence that helps our students before they go to their internships, their clinical hours, or research experiences as well. For our scholarship opportunities, we have our merit scholarships that range between 12,000 up to 19 per year, and that's only based on your GPA from high school. The good thing about St. Leo University is that, let's say you submit your SATs, ACT scores, they can bump you up to the next tier on the scholarships. Also, we have a scholarship that we were working hard last year for our Orange County students that is called the Florida Room Award. Essentially, it is 3,500 just because you graduated from a school in Orange County. We also have a nursing award, which means that you wouldn't pay for housing on your first year. In the years after that, it would just depend on the apartment you select, if it's fully covered or if there's a remaining cost of housing. How to become a Lion at St. Leo? It's fairly simple. The only thing you need to do is file an application through our website at stleo.edu or utilize the Common App. We will utilize official high school transcripts and that's it. Letter of recommendation and standardized testing is optional. As I said before, if you submit your standardized test scores, it might just help you get more money from the school. And who doesn't like free money? So these are our virtual information. You can find us on our social media, find more information, and you can even take a virtual tour. We also offer tours from Mondays to to Fridays, 8, 10 to 12, and then 2 to 4. And sometimes we have events on campus on Saturdays and tours on Saturdays as well. So if you have any questions whatsoever, I'm here for you every step of the way. Just reach out. Thank you so much.
Francie, thank you so much. That was wonderful. I do want to let our families know that I did put into the chat the link to be able to access the St. Leo University website, as well as I know you mentioned about the Common App, so I put the link to that in there as well. I will also be putting in Francie's contact information so that if you do have any questions, feel free to go ahead and reach out. Thank you so very much. And now I know that we already have Charles ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Charles to the stage. And Charles, whenever you're ready to share, please feel free.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tierney. So honored to be on this panel once again. Excited to share with you all, those of you who are in the virtual crowd. Excited to share with you about the opportunity of Miami. Huge shout out to Francie, great person to follow behind. And I'll do my best to be short and concise. My goal in our short time together is all of these great institutions is really to give you some differentiating factors as you are going on your journey to invest in higher education, an institution that will hopefully aid you in the next phase of your life. I want to help you understand how University of Miami will be able to do that and why we call it the opportunity of Miami. First differentiating factor between us is that we are a medium-sized institution. We'll also call this Mythbusters. One of the, the myths about is that we are this huge, large state school. We are a private, medium-sized institution, around 12,000 undergraduate students. I can even, you see this student faculty ratio of 11-1. I can break that down even further to tell you that 75% of our classes are 27 or fewer. Yes, I'll say that again. 75% of our classes are 27 or fewer. So you will not just be a number. As you see this group of students that are walking through the campus illustrated in this photo, it's not a crowd. It is there's space on the sidewalks. That is the vibe that you will feel on the campus, but more importantly in the classroom, where the professor, faculty member, even the students, your classmates, your residential college mates will know your name. 100 plus different majors and programs. And you're probably wondering, okay, Charles, so you're not a public institution. Does that mean that you have students coming from all over? Absolutely, yes. So you'll see here the breakdown of where our students come from. 30% roughly of our students, on average, 30 to 40% of our students come from inside of the state of Florida. So we're not just a Florida school. That means that we're proud of our backyard, but we're also proud of the fact that we're able to expose those of you who come from our backyard to students from all over the country, all over the world. The next part of this is you saw the 100 plus majors and programs. What do those entail, Charles? What is the schools and colleges and majors that I could have the opportunity to engage in? These are they, as they would say. And so you'll see here we have 9 undergraduate schools and colleges to choose from. We now have 3 graduate schools. The beauty of our offerings at is that you are not pigeonholed into a particular program, major. You really do have the freedom to move about that academic discipline, as it were, as you will. And the way that we're able to uniquely allow students to be able to do this is through something called our Cognates program. I want you to say that 3 times fast. Cognates program of general education is the precise definition of what it's called. And I'm going to break it down for you really simply. If you miss everything that I say today, which I hope you pick up a few nuggets, but if you miss everything else, I hope that you grasp onto this, because this is the one thing that really makes unique. And the way it works is there are 3 areas of study. How many areas did I say? We're going to kind of repeat back to me in the crowd. 3. Yes, there are 3 areas of study that encompass all of our 100 plus majors and programs. And so your major will fall into one of these 3 areas. And the minimum requirement is that you have to take 3 courses. Okay, so you're getting it 3 areas and then 3 courses in each of those 3 areas. So it's illustrated here through Sebastian the Ibis, who is our example, also our mascot, has chosen to take aerospace engineering. And that major would cover the STEM cognate, so science, technology, engineering, and math. That is one of the areas. The second area is people and society. So this is more the social sciences. So he's chosen to take sports communication, 3 courses in that. And then he's also added an additional 2 through his minor, which he's taken philosophy to cover arts and humanities. So 3 different areas of study, 3 different disciplines, 3 different schools and colleges, but yet the same individual student who is pursuing a University of Miami education. And so you really are able to mix and match based upon your particular interests, whatever flavor suits you in that season, in that moment. And so he's able to pursue his degree, which is engineering, but also to supplement that with his interests in sports communication, and then a minor that he has in philosophy. Now you're saying, Charles, okay, This is a great example. How many of your students actually take advantage of adding an additional major or minor? I'm glad you asked. Over 50% of our students have an additional major or minor. And so it allows for, again, a range of flexibility in interdisciplinary studies by default within the opportunities that you have at Miami. Yes, I'm going to pause. I feel like a question is coming.
I am not seeing a question in the chat yet, though.
Okay. Just making sure. Okay.
I
So,
think we're good.
okay, good. So you all are with me so far. So 3 areas of study, 3 courses within each of those 3, and one of them will be covered by your major. And the other beauty of this is you can complete cognates at any point during your 4 years. This allows any student to be able to study abroad. This allows any student to be able to do research. And so the maximum flexibility doesn't just happen in the classroom, but outside of the classroom as well. Okay. Another differentiating factor, location. Right? We are the southernmost institution, proud of the fact that we're the southernmost institution in the country of higher learning. And the beauty of this is your access to one of the best cities, fastest growing cities in the country, but not just in terms of like the residential area. You probably think about, oh, yes, he's talking about the weather. Yes, I mean, you all are in Florida, so you're aware of that. What I'm more speaking to is the access to resources that will then accentuate your resume. So the fact that we are the #1 right now, fastest growing place for startup activity, what that means for students in terms of the real world experiences of internships, whether you're in business or maybe you're looking into environmental studies. Both of those things can happen in this hub, the middle of the Americas, as our former president would call it. And so it really allows for a unique and what I would say global educational experience from students, again, from all different backgrounds and interests. Okay? Now, we are, let me just say, we are in Coral Gables, so we're in the suburbs outside of downtown Miami. If you are familiar, or if you have been, or if you haven't, it's about a 15-minute, well, it can be 15 minutes. It can also be an hour in terms of the drive, but it's typically about 15 to 20 minutes on the metro, which we are right off of the metro stop. So just in terms of access, want to give that sort of nugget there. For those of you who are interested, there are some of you probably on who have applied this cycle. Maybe you're thinking about next cycle. This is our profile from last year. So I always want to give you something to aim for in terms of the competitiveness of our pool and what you should be thinking about. There's one thing I want to point out here. We're very transparent in this. You'll notice that roughly 38 to 40% of our class comes from early decision. Early decision is a binding agreement. It means this is your #1 choice. It's where you want to be. There is the highest rate of admission for us through early decision. The second highest rate would be early action. The most competitive would be regular decision. So we're upfront with that so that you know sort of where to stand and kind of make your decision from there in terms of what works best for you. We are also on the Common Application. It's already been put in the chat, so I don't have to add any more flavor to that. We also employ a holistic review process. The one thing that I will mention here is that we're test optional currently. So for those of you who are applying for fall 2025, that applies to right now, but we're still in deliberations. I should say, not me, I'm not a part of those. That's a little bit higher than my pay grade, but there are people who are in deliberations about whether we will continue to be test optional beyond this cycle. So stay tuned for that in terms of all of the communication outlets that we have. Financially, you're automatically considered for scholarships when you apply. I always think that it's important, especially in venues like this, to just break down what this means. There are many institutions that are going to say that they meet 100% of demonstrated needs. So this is not saying that is it's not unique in this, but I also wanted to give you a breakdown of visuals so you can snap a picture of exactly what that means when you hear institutions say that, right? So we take the full cost of attendance, which is a shade under $100,000. I'm very also transparent about that. And then we subtract that from your EFC, which comes from the combination for us from the FAFSA and the CSS profile. Okay, the FAFSA for federal need-based aid. I know you have an amazing team and they will educate you on these terms. But then the CSS profile is a more in-depth FAFSA. It's for institutional need-based aid. So the combination of those gives us your EFC, or what's expected in terms of your contribution to your education. And then the subtraction, or the sum of that, is your financial need. So that is what is met from the institution, what we commit to specifically in that first year. Okay. And the reason why we use that language in the first year is because there is a the tuition can go up, and there is no, unfortunately, commitment that we will then meet the gap of tuition going up, right? But your package, based upon your need, should stay the same. Okay. 100,000 for 4 years. Great question. Yes. So 100,000 is a shade under $100,000 per year. So it's around $92,000 full cost of attendance per year. So a shade under $400,000. And yes, these are large figures, but that's why I'm saying this at the time that we're talking about meeting 100% of demonstrated need. Okay. Lastly, these are our deadlines. All of this information is on the website. It's not going to vary much differently from my colleagues. But the one thing that I'll point out here is we have something called a final credentials deadline. What this simply means is there's a grace period that is built in because we realize that things come up, right? Whether it be a counselor that's out on paternity or maternity leave, whether there is an error that might have been made in terms of getting test scores in or things like that. So there's a grace period that's built in. But we're transparent about what the grace period is. So once we get past that grace period, if you are moved to a different admission plan because you are incomplete, we will have been upfront about the fact that you had this this grace period. Okay. And then lastly, you can get more information from us, get on our mailing list, follow us on all social media platforms by scanning this QR code for more information. Yeah, it's a pleasure.
And I was going to say, Charles, thank you so much. I always enjoy learning about the University of Miami. We do have a question about how early decision works at your school.
Absolutely. Yes. So early decision is a binding contract. And so how it works is you are saying between yourself, your counselor, and your parent or guardian who will sign this contract to say, this is my number one choice. This is where I want to be. And so I am committing to the institution prior to receiving a decision or a financial aid package. And so what it means effectively is that if you receive a decision, we hope a positive one, that you've been admitted to that institution, then you would then be required to subsequently enroll. It's typically a 2-week period that you have to submit that deposit. You can only apply early decision to one institution. We also have early decision too. I know some of you probably saw that on the slide. And so what that means is you can apply early action. There are students who will apply early action. They're not ready to make that commitment, and they might be deferred in the process. We then open up the opportunity for them to opt into early decision 2 or regular decision at that time. So there are multiple ways to apply early decision, but it is essentially a commitment before a decision.
And then, Charles, they do want to know, how do they apply for a sports scholarship at the University of Miami? And is there a difference if they plan on playing football for Miami?
It's a great question. The same admission process in terms of review applies to athletes. In terms of applying for a sports scholarship, it doesn't necessarily work that way. It's a fair question. You're automatically considered for scholarships when you apply to UM from an academic side. From the athletic side, they do their own recruiting. So we don't, as an admission side, have any influence in that. And they go out on the road, they find individuals. And so I would connect you with the coaches for the particular sport that you are interested in to review that process.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I know that we've got quite a few people. And at this point, I also want to give a shout out to Colonial High School. Colonial High School is holding its watch party tonight. So we have a lot of families from Colonial. So woo, go Colonial. We got our Grenadiers. And a very special shout out to their parent engagement liaison, Jasmine Salmon, because she definitely put that together. I do know that there are some questions that are coming up in the chat. Any questions that actually can be applied to any of the colleges, we're going to address those at the very end of the presentation. So things like Florida prepaid tuition, what kind of sports scholarships are available. Charles, thank you for being so quick on the draw with that one. We did have someone asking for contact information. Right now, we're going to go ahead and bring to the stage from Florida Southern College, we have Emily Bowers. Welcome, Emily. How are you? Emily, are you by chance muted?
Yes, so sorry. I shared
Not
my
a
screen and it
problem.
went away from me. Hi, everyone. My name is Emily Bowers. I'm one of the senior admissions counselors. I typically work with students from the Tampa area, and my colleague Carissa Capoza is who would be belonging to you guys. She is currently out of town, so I'm stepping in for her. So want to run through some basic information about the college so you guys kind of have a baseline of what Florida Southern's about. So welcome possible future mocks. So the one thing that we really want to share tonight is just kind of based on the different communities that you can become a part of that Florida Southern really fosters. So the first things, some little baseline info about us. We were founded back in 1883, so we're actually the oldest private institution here in the state. Us and Rollins often will battle on who is the oldest. We like to pretend we are. We have around 3,300 students on campus. So I like to kind of compare us to a giant high school in that you're going to have friends in all of your classes, but you'll also see new faces every day as you walk around. We have the largest single site collection of Frank Lloyd Wright architecture in the world. So that actually makes us a national historical landmark. We do have our inaugural architecture program and class coming in next year. That will actually begin to restore parts of our Frank Lloyd Wright architecture. So really excited to welcome them. And we're also really big on financial aid, which I'll touch on in a little bit. Well, the first community that you're a part of when you're at Florida Southern is your Lakeland community, which is where we're located. We are smack dab between Tampa and Orlando. I like to say that I am halfway between Disney and the beach, basically. So we have about 365,000 residents in Lakeland. So there's a lot of different ways to get plugged in. I'm a little biased because I am from from Lakeland itself, and so I like to, I lived in Nashville for a long time, so it's actually really fun to be in Lakeland as a young adult. There's a lot of fun things to do. Great downtown, restaurants, and like farmers markets and fairs, and all the different ways you can get plugged in. My favorite fun fact is that we are the spring training grounds for the Detroit Tigers. So it is, if you love baseball, it's a great place to kind of get some cheap MLB tickets on the down low. So that's always really fun. So Lakeland is that great place to be in between everything you could ever want, right on that I-4 corridor. And then we do have housing on campus. We are what's considered a residential campus. So that does mean the majority of our students do live with us. I have a 4-year housing guarantee. As long as you are with Florida Southern as a student, you will always have a home with us. I have 18 different residential options, 5 of which are designated for our first-year students, and then everything, and those are like classic dorm style. And then after that, everything kind of varies. If you like being in the heart of campus, we have upperclassmen dorms. I do have Greek life on campus that I'll share about in just on the next slide, but we do have Greek suites for our Greek students. So you don't have to be Greek to live in them. But they kind of get first dibs on those options. Those are directly on campus. And then I have normal apartment complexes that are owned and operated by the college. So live like a real adult, it's just I'm your landlord instead of some random creepy dude. And it is definitely more affordable to live in Florida Southern housing over renting in Lakeland as somebody who currently rents. Not the best. So I also do have 12 different dining options on campus. You will always be fed. They're nicely spread out. We have 3 or multiple different restaurants that you'll recognize, including a Starbucks, Steak and Shake, and a fully functioning Boar's Head Deli. So it's definitely nice to live on campus. It makes life easy, and my freshman students can bring cars on campus. So if you are interested in commuting, you have to live within a 30-mile radius with a parent or guardian. Otherwise, we do ask that you reside in our housing. So, but again, not stuck in a dorm. You have normal apartment complexes. So there are a lot of different ways to get plugged in on campus. We are definitely that type of college where we, like most students, are involved in multiple different clubs. They're, in jobs, things like that. I have over 100 clubs and organizations, and that's going to span everything from special interest clubs, like we have a Dungeons and Dragons club that is very popular. They host a really fun event over the years. We have a cat club. We do actually have a colony of feral cats live here on campus. So if you do like cats, you have some built-in buddies. You can see Sophie in the bottom left-hand corner on the screen there. She's our head mental health counselor's dog. So we do have golden retrievers too. So never fret if you're more of a dog person. But we also have professional clubs and organizations as well to get plugged into your industry that you're interested in. We are also Methodist affiliated, but I don't have any religious requirements on campus. So we have 12 different campus ministries to get plugged into, and then the Greek life that I mentioned. I have 6 sororities and 6 fraternities, and we do what's called deferred recruitment. So you would go through recruitment during the spring. So you have your fall semester to kind of get settled in, get the lay of the land, to get used to how the college schedule works before going through that recruitment process and committing to an organization. So going on to the next slide, we are Division II NCAA. I have 24 Division II athletic teams to choose from. Basic recruitment process is we have a recruitment form on our website, and per NCAA regulations, the coaches do need to manage all of that recruitment process. So us in admissions, we have nothing to do with that. The coaches will work with that, and the recruitment form is the best way to start getting in contact with them. So some really popular ones on our campus are going to be basketball, volleyball, lacrosse, soccer, all the ones that are on the screen. But we have softball on campus. Baseball currently holds the most championships that we have. We have 30 national championships with baseball, really coming in strong with that. So really, really fun time being a mock. We are the water moccasins, by the way, which is the snake, not the shoe. And it's really fun seeing how supportive the college and the students are of not just our athletics, but our arts and everything in between. We do have some club sports. We have an equestrian team, which is actually my old equestrian teacher. She's great. Esports does Rocket League, League of Legends, and Overwatch competitively. We have a cheerleading squad, and then my favorite, we have an ice hockey team. They actually just moved up to Division II within their conference, so really excited for them. But we do have some club sports that are available to play as well. So again, of course, we're a school. So academics, I have over 70 academic programs to choose from, and we're pretty transfer credit friendly. So IB, ACE, AP, dual enrollment kind of stuff like that, we're typically good about accepting those credits. So I do have quite a few students that will double major, double minor, or maybe even graduate early, depending on kind of what your career goals are. 16 pre-professional programs, so think pre-med, pre-law, all that good stuff, and then 12 master's and doctoral programs. So speaking of those, I do offer some accelerated programs. I like to refer to them as dual enrollment for grad school. So basically what it would look like is in your junior year at college at Florida Southern, you would apply for one of the master's programs I have listed on the screen. And then in your senior year, you start taking those master's level courses alongside of your senior level courses. So you can graduate in 5 years instead of 6 with your master's degree, exit with that lovely master's salary point. And then my favorite part is that that entire first year of your master's is priced at the undergraduate price point. So it is by far the best bang for your buck. And let me tell you, once you're done with homework, you want to be done with homework forever. So if this is a part of the path you're looking for your career, I definitely recommend taking advantage of it. And if any school offers something like this is a great option to kind of really invest in. So speaking of grad school, I think the style that we teach at Florida Southern is closer to what you would experience at the graduate level. It is going to be much more discussion and like project based rather than just a lecture. And so we have about a 13-to-1 student to faculty ratio. So you're getting really small classroom sizes. Average classroom size is around 17 students. So you're really getting in there. You're hands-on. Yes, if you're in the STEM, you're working in the lab on the most, up-to-date equipment, things like, pretty much everything you're doing is what you'd be doing in the field. And we find that to be the best way for you to really understand and feel prepared as you're moving into those next steps post-college. So, and there are 3 opportunities we really want you to have while you're with us at Florida Southern. And the first is to actually get out of Florida Southern. We want you to go out and really experience the world and get and gain a global perspective, and then bring that back to apply to not just your classrooms, but your life. So we do that through junior year. You can participate in what we call the Junior Journey program. There's 7 to 10 day trips that are subsidized through being able to, schedule things as a college. We get a good deal. And so faculty led, so you earn some credits, and then we do them over a break. So spring, summer, or fall, so we're not actually interrupting your class schedule. The best part is you can go on whatever trip you want. It doesn't have to be the one that your department is putting on. I'm not gonna lie, most students choose based on location and not based on the topic, and that's a-okay. We have gone all over the world, everywhere from Spain to South Africa to, Japan and South America. So really kind of wherever you want to go, more than likely we have an opportunity for that. And it's a really cool shared experience. I didn't have anything like this at the college that I attended, and I am jealous all the time that I listen to my colleagues talk about where they got to go their junior year. So definitely a great option there. And then we want you to make sure that you're getting at least one internship and or research project while you're with us, because this is really your trial run for a job. You can figure out what you like, what you don't like about your industry. And really, adulthood is just one giant group project. And so whenever you're choosing the people for your group project, it's either very much so your friends because you know them, or it's very much so not your friends because you know them. And so an internship is a great way to become that person that they know and want for their group project, aka your job. So we definitely want you to get out there. Your professors and our career services are going to make sure that you are finding and securing those internships, most of them being paid, which is really exciting. But it's definitely a great opportunity. I recommend no matter where you go, definitely try and do those internships to get out there. And then this one might seem kind of obvious, but as of right now, the average time to complete your bachelor's is 5.5 years. And as much as we love you, we want you to leave and go do the things that you came here to study for. So by assigning you an academic advisor who's specific to your major, typically one of your professors, we're making sure that you're graduating in a timely manner. So you're going to sit down with your academic advisor. I say, no matter where you go, treat them like a built-in therapist. Tell them everything that you want to do, everything you don't want to do, big dreams, little dreams, everything in between, because they're going to be the ones that are helping you plan out your schedule, making sure that you are in the classes when it's the best time for you, as well as that will actually serve you and your interests and goals. So the goal here is to not have all of our, let's say business students graduate with a cookie cutter business degree. We want you to get the classes that are plugged into where you want to be. So if you want to work in higher education, that's great. Or if you want to work for, Disney, those are going to be two very different pathways, but could still both be a business degree or something like that. So that's kind of the goal there. So what this all culminates into is success after graduation. Right now, we check in with our graduates about 6 months after they graduate, and what we find is 98% of them are either in the field that they've studied in, they're in that next level of education, or they're in public service of some kind. So we really attribute this to our amazing career services department. They were rated 16th in the nation by the Princeton Review, and as of right now, we were the only school in the state of Florida on that list. So we're really proud of them and all the fun programs that they put on that really help our students get plugged in, not just to the industry, but around campus, to their classmates and their professors. So they do a great job. I'm happy to share more about kind of the different programs they do later. So these are just some of the top places our students have gone off to. With being right between Tampa and Orlando, it makes sense that we're going to have Disney, Amazon, Geico on those, because we have some regional offices for Amazon and Geico here. Publix is headquartered in Lakeland. Again, a no-brainer, but I love that Florida Southern's on there. We have quite a few alumni that come back to plug back into the college to, continue sharing all the fun joy that they got while they were here. So love to see that. Some nitty gritty things real quick. We are on the Common App. We have our own. We're also on Coalition for College for SCORE, and it's always free to apply to Florida Southern. We have rolling admissions as well. So that means we are still accepting applications. We did have early action, early decision options. Those close November 1st. And they have all the same, lots of fun benefits for early decision students. Early action is that same kind of thing where you're just applying early to receive a decision early, the non-binding. So we also adhere to that. These are, you can kind of take a look on here, some nitty gritty things that we need. So I need a copy of our high school transcripts. I need a personal essay. And as of right now, our test scores and our letter of recommendation are optional. So I typically say for us, if you've hit a Bright Futures level, that's a great time to apply with test scores, because the goal is to try and get you as much merit scholarship as possible. So we're more than happy to sit down and chat with you guys to strategize about what's going to be the best option for you. And you can kind of see our class of 2028, that middle profile there, kind of what with GPAs, test scores, kind of, and then we have about a 56% acceptance rate for us. And then when it comes to merit scholarships, it's actually up to $26,000 per year. When you apply to the college, you're automatically considered for that. So there's nothing extra y'all need to do. And I'm going to split that going between your tuition and your room and board. So you're never paying full price for anything. They auto renew for you all 4 years. There is nothing you need to do except for maintain a specific GPA based on your scholarship level. And they're typically, I think you need to, the highest you need to maintain is like a 2.75 overall GPA. So, don't get straight C's and D's and you'll be fine. So we do also offer talent rewarded scholarships. So that's going to be anything from athletic scholarship, which again, coaches handle all of that scholarship amount. So they'll be the ones to determine who gets what award. ROTC, we have Army and National Guard for ROTC, artistic scholarship, all that kind of good stuff. We do accept Bright Futures as a private school. They're going to give us a flat rate. So that's going to be roughly anywhere between 5 and 7,000 ish. It's a specific amount. But we do accept that as well as for a prepaid, which again, we can go into all that on the general side later. And then if you have hit that highest level of Bright Futures, I highly recommend applying for our Prestige and Premier scholarships. This is the option for a full ride kind of thing. So there's some other tiers throughout that, but there's a separate application that needs to be completed. You do need to have already been accepted. And then you need an essay and there'll be an interview. So that is everything that I got. Thanks so much for listening, guys. I appreciate it. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook and all the places you see social media. So thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Emily. And we did have a few questions. So I
Sure.
definitely someone wants to know if you have a rowing program at
Do not.
Florida Southern.
I do not, unfortunately. Yeah, we are located on a lake, so you would think, but unfortunately, I don't feel like it's wide enough to you kind of only get a couple strokes in before you'd have to turn around. So
Not a problem. I did want to ask that. And
Yeah.
I do have some questions for everyone when everyone finishes presenting. So if
Perfect.
you're placing those questions in the chat and we haven't asked them, don't panic. I promise I'm making notes and we will get to them.
Perfect.
So
Cool beans.
Emily, go ahead. Thank you.
That was everything I got. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. So now we're going to welcome to the stage Matthew Dutton, and he is with Flagler College. So welcome, Matthew. How are you?
Hi, how's it going? Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Okay,
absolutely can. So when you're ready, you can go ahead and start sharing.
okay. All right. Can you see my screen? Oh,
It looks like it's coming up. We
okay.
just wait a minute. Yes, there you
Okay.
go.
All right, is it in
And then if,
presentation mode now?
not yet. If you can go ahead.
Oh, hold on. Ooh.
There we go. It's in presentation mode now.
Okay. Can you see it?
Yes, yes, it looks great.
Okay.
Oh, it went out of presentation mode. I
Okay.
don't know what you clicked.
There's like
But it's
multiple.
in presentation mode now.
Okay, it's good. All right.
Yes.
Hello everyone. Sorry, little technical difficulties. I have multiple screens that I'm working with. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm really excited to share with you guys a little bit about Flagler College. Going to be really hard to go after these wonderful admissions counselors. I myself have enjoyed learning a little bit more about the other schools in Florida. But my name is Matthew. I'm one of the admissions counselors at Flagler. I'm also a recent alum of Flagler, graduated not too long ago in May of 2023. So I've been here going on my second year now. So I'm really excited to share with you guys a little bit about the school. So to kind of give you an overview, did it go to the next screen?
No.
Okay. Oh, there we go. So to give you an overview of Flagler, we are a 4-year private liberal arts non-for-profit institution. So that really long title of a bunch of random words just means we are a smaller school. So kind of we've learned, different sizes throughout the night tonight, and we have around 2,400 undergraduate students in total. And I think this number just gives you a really good understanding of what campus life is going to be like. So we're the perfect size. We're not too small where it feels like you're stuck at high school again, but we're also not too big where you're going to have maybe 50 to 100 people per class. So I can definitely attest to that being on campus. I would walk around even to this day and you see a lot of familiar faces, whether it be your peers or it could be one of your professors or a staff member. But at the same time, you're going to meet new people every single day as well. So I think that's the perfect mix between the two. I remember I was in front of the student center and my friend texted me and she was like, I see you. And I was like, that's not creepy at all because I have no idea where you're at. But it happens more often than you think. But we are located in St. Augustine, Florida. So if you grew up in Orlando, chances are you might have visited us for a fourth grade field trip. That is very common. St. Augustine, it's the nation's oldest city. So it was founded, I believe, in 1565. And we are smack dab right in the middle. So we are a very walkable campus, but we're also integrated really with that downtown area. St. Augustine has so much to offer as far as culture, food, different museums. I could do a whole hour presentation just on St. Augustine. I could do a whole 30-minute presentation just on the food here. 6 years, I never run out of places to eat. And college, honestly, the most important thing is probably going to be food. But St. Augustine is just a cool area. Our students really are involved in the community in different ways. So they could do internships at museums. We had a student a couple years ago who interned as a pirate. So she walked around St. Augustine in a full pirate costume. And that actually counted as coursework for her. So I thought that was really cool. But if you haven't been to St. Augustine, definitely recommend. It's really hard to miss our campus. So really learning a lot about the city and being integrated with our campus is really important for a lot of our students. The location is big, but to give an understanding of where our students come from, about 55% of our first year class did come from outside of Florida. We represent around 38 states and 8 different countries. Really along the East Coast is our bread and butter. So I always like to say, since we're a smaller campus, it doesn't really matter if you're coming from in-state or out of state because you're going to feel right at home regardless of where you're coming from. Obviously, being close to home is there's some perks associated with that, being 2 hours away. My parents live about an hour away from campus, so I think it's a perfect medium where you're not too far from home, but you're also close enough to home where you don't have to buy a flight, which I think is really important. So last year, about 48% of our first years came from outside of Florida, so it's a mixed bag around 50-50. But meeting people from so many different states, you could argue with your roommate about pizza. I think that might be the only thing if you'll argue if they're from New York, especially. But my colleague, she is also an alum and she's from Paraguay. So it's really fun learning from them and their experiences, why they came to Flagler, and it definitely contributes to our cultural diversity on campus.
Matthew,
Yeah,
there's a question because someone was looking at the beautiful campus and she said
yeah.
it's such a beautiful school, but does it ever flood like the University of Tampa?
Yes, so St. Augustine is right on the water, so we are located kind of on an inlet. Flooding is very minimal downtown. I always just recommend a pair of rain boots will is all that you really need, rain boots and an umbrella. Shockingly, I've lived here for 6 years and I've never bought a pair of rain boots. So I sort of just suffer sometimes and take my shoes off, but it is very minimal, but we do experience flooding is mainly the only issue that we ever have if there's like a hurricane. That's a really great question. But yeah, so some more numbers to throw at you guys. Our average class size at Flagler floats around 14. Never really over 25, but you could be as small as 5. That was the smallest class I had. I thought that was crazy because my friend had a class with 2 people, so make sure that you go to class. It's pretty obvious if you're not there, but that just gives you a really good picture and understanding of what the learning environment really is going to be like for you. We focus a lot on experiential learning. Really straying away from those lecture halls is important for us. So discussion-based, project-based, collaborative-based, doing things in the community. I'll walk around campus and I see our coastal environmental science program walking back from the marina. Maybe they're doing work in museums in town. So I think a lot of our students really appreciate those smaller classes and the student to faculty ratio as well. Really getting to know your professors is big for a lot of our students. It was really big for me personally. You might have the same professor multiple times. I had one professor here for 3 semesters in a row. So she got to be with me for a whole year and a half, and we became super close. One time I went to talk about my capstone project with her, and she was having office hours at a lunch spot here, and she was like, I forgot my lunch. I'm so sorry. I was like, don't apologize, because I also forgot my lunch. So we just sat there and we ate lunch together. So when you build those relationships, I think that's really important because that senior year, when you're figuring out what you want to do in life post grad, you can always talk to them and they can give you some really good life advice because life advice is essential, like I said, that senior year, and they have been in your shoes before. But talking a little bit about student life, I promise you'll never be bored. We are not a suitcase college, so you don't see all of our students packing their bags or booking the next flight home as much as you're going to miss your family. There's so much to do during the week and on the weekends. The weekends might feel a little bit empty because chances are everyone is probably at the beach. We are located less than 5 miles from the beach, and there's over 40 miles of beach to choose from between St. Augustine Beach and Avalano Beach. So there's 2 beaches as well. But over 50 student clubs and organizations, and this can range from any topic, any interest. There's volunteer-based, honor societies. One of my favorites is our surf team. Firstly, I never surfed a day in my life. I don't think they'd be very good at surfing. But if you don't know how to surf, we'll teach you. If you know how to surf, you can compete. They compete nationally in California every spring. So very proud of them. We have some really cool events. So if you've seen our building, if not, definitely look up some photos, but it looks straight out of Hogwarts. So we have Harry Potter Week in the fall. We have lots of live music, free concerts for students as well, and any event associating with any holiday we try to do. So Christmas, Mardi Gras, Halloween, and going to these events is just a really great way to get involved on campus and meet people, especially in that first semester when you're acclimating to campus and everyone's kind of in that same boat of trying to get involved and meeting people on campus that first year. But like I said, talking about that experiential learning, more focused on academics, we do have a very specialized core curriculum. It's Flagler's version of general education. So if you're maybe taking dual enrollment or you're looking at colleges and you see general education, our core curriculum is very specialized. So all of our classes kind of tailor around these four core values. Really expect students to abide by them, but giving you kind of a holistic education and learning experience. A few examples of some core classes. There was a class called How to Citizen. There was an Essentials of Podcasting course that was very popular that could count as your public speaking. There was a Statistical Inquiry of Thoughtful Stewardship, Cinematic Arts. There was a History of Fashion and Cinema course. So really, it's a mixed bag because it does change per semester, but our students really enjoy these classes because it's not like you're taking intro to psychology or speech communication. You're taking something that really gives you a valuable life skill. And these are all of our academic programs. So I mentioned earlier, we are primarily a liberal arts institution, so really straying away from STEM degrees. We have close to 40 different majors and close to 15 minors under that general umbrella. This is a full list, no need to memorize them. Usually top five declared by first years includes psychology, criminology, education, coastal environmental science, and business administration. So those are the most popular by numbers. But one great thing about Flagler is that we are a flat rate tuition school. So you're not being charged by the credit hour. So about 58% of our students do study multiple academic programs. So you can have a major and a minor, you could have two majors and a minor. Your academic advisor is going to be a really great resource for you to see how that fits into your schedule to still make sure that you're on track to graduate within that 4 years or so. I had a friend who had two majors and three minors, so she graduated on time somehow. And she eventually ended up going on to law school because she had different interests in criminology, psychology, political science. So she was really able to kind of handcraft a schedule and still be involved on campus. So we really encourage students to do that. It's not required though. So if you just want to have one major, there's nothing wrong with that. Some students may work off campus or work on campus or be involved in different clubs, but we just give you that opportunity. Another part of our core experience is flagship. It's one of my favorite things. I don't have a slide for it because it's hard to show some photos, but it is your sophomore year. It's kind of a high impact course. That's what it stands for, sophomore high impact practice. And some of these courses are on campus. They're very hands-on, so kind of encompassing that core experience. There was a farm to table class that I really loved. So students partnered with a local restaurant and got to learn about that process. A lot of flagship course programs are study abroad experiences though. So traveling is really big for a lot of our students, and we go to so many different countries with flagship. There's been trips to Portugal, Spain and Morocco, Italy, Germany, France. There was a trip that went to Tanzania and Africa. They got to go on a safari, like an authentic safari, so I was very jealous. Personally, I can speak from experience as a student. I was able to go to Jordan in the Middle East. It was the first time Flagler ever went to the Middle East, and we got to look at water scarcity. So there was a point to that class, but there's also some really cool excursions. We got to swim in the Dead Sea, got to go to Petra, one of the seven wonders of the world. So our students really enjoy that flagship program because they can have some sort of global learning experience, whether it be on campus or if you're traveling to that country. So I think that's another very specialized program that we offer. Now moving into just the last few slides, more housekeeping things. So our average cost for a first year student is just a little under 50,000 for that full year. So it is for that first year. The total cost, it is split into two different semester payments. Tuition and fees amount to a little over 33,000, and then room and board. Room is your housing. You are required to live on campus your first 2 years, so first year and sophomore year. And board is your meal plan. So you get an all access meal plan. That means you get unlimited meal swipes in our dining hall. If you've not seen our dining hall, just look up Flagler College Dining Hall, and it also looks straight out of Hogwarts. Lots of Tiffany stained glass and artwork in there. But we're very transparent about our cost of attendance here. Don't let the ticket price fool you though, because around 97% of our students do receive some sort of financial aid. So when you apply to Flagler, you're automatically considered for our Presidential Merit Scholarship. This could range up to $7,000 per year. We have an additional Make History Scholarship that could range up to an additional 2 to 4,000, depending on how much you get in the Presidential Merit. We do accept Florida Bright Futures and Florida Prepaid, similar to the other colleges we've heard about. It's a little bit different for private schools, so it's by credit hour for Bright Futures, and prepaid is a set cost as well. But in your financial aid package, that will sort of lay out all the different types of aid that you have, the total cost, especially once we receive your FAFSA. I know FAFSA can be very confusing at times with the rollout and the changes that they made, but we have a really great financial aid team that can definitely answer any questions for you. They are a lot better with numbers than I am. I'm not the best with numbers. But speaking of numbers, our fall 2024 first year academic profile, just to kind of see where you land. I know a lot of students, you're asking average GPA, test scores. Average GPA was around 3.59. This is a weighted average and it's cumulative. So we always look at the cumulative weighted GPA on your transcripts. If you're taking honors, dual enrollment, IB, ACE, or AP, that definitely helps with that weighted GPA. But it's an average, so we get above that and we get below that, so keep that in mind. And SAT was 1157 and ACT was around 25. We are also a test optional institution, so you're not required to submit scores to us. If you apply with your scores, but I think it's hurting you more than helping you, I'm really open to having conversations with our students because if we think that you're going to qualify for a higher merit scholarship, we will always try to play around with that for you. So if you're curious on whether your test scores meet our minimums, you can always reach out to me as well. We also accept the CLT, that's the classical learning test. We don't have averages for that yet, but we have had a few students submit that. So we do accept the CLT if you apply with your scores. And these can be the steps to apply. So very simple, cut and dry. You can apply on our website or you can apply through Common App. We don't have a preference on either one. It's a $50 fee, whichever you submit. Oh, if you're a high school senior, it is open and we do application review on a rolling basis. So you'll receive a decision from us typically within 3 weeks once you receive all the materials in your application. But you'll apply, then submit your official high school transcript. Third is an academic recommendation letter. So emphasis on the word academic. This could mean a teacher, counselor, principal, someone that really knows you in a academic setting. Please don't submit a letter written by your mom. I said it very jokingly because that did happen. So just make sure it's academic. We accept any other letter after that first one. So if you have a coach or a mentor, another teacher that knows you well, you're more than welcome to submit any other letter. We just require that one. And then the essay is really fun for us. It's supposed to be really fun for you as well. Our application has one prompt and then Common App has a few that you can choose from. Just make sure you answer the prompt correctly and fully, minimum of 250 words, and then make sure you proofread it and then have someone else proofread it. I get a lot of essays where students will not change the word of the school they're applying to. So definitely just make sure you proofread it, but also have fun with it. It's really great because if I don't get to meet you in person, I love meeting you through your essay. I get some very emotional essays. I've tried over, I think, 6 or 7. I get very lighthearted ones. I get lots about Taylor Swift. So if you're a Taylor Swift fan, if you want to write about that, go right ahead. So whatever speaks to you, just write about it because it's really fun, like I said, getting to know you. And those test scores, like I said, that's optional, but if you are submitting them, we have to get an electronic score report from ACT or from College Board. And that's everything I have for you guys. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen tonight, and I look forward to answering any questions that you guys have.
Well, thank you, Matthew. We do have a question. Gina wanted to know, should students list both weighted and unweighted GPAs on the application?
So on your application, we take the GPA from your transcript. So once we look at your high school transcript, we will take the weighted GPA from it. If your school only reports unweighted GPAs and you're taking like honors or AP or dual enrollment, we can definitely do a recalc of your GPA to make sure that you're getting that weight. But we always look at the weighted GPA and we take the highest GPA off of your transcript. So if it lists both your unweighted and your weighted, we will always take the weighted, whichever's highest, which is usually the weighted. So
Okay, great. That was a good question, Gina. Well, thank you so much, Matthew. I
oh,
really
yes,
appreciate your time.
thank you all.
And in the interest of time, I do want to make sure that we get to Jordan Dahan, who is with the Florida Institute of Technology. So, Jordan, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Glad to be here today to talk a little bit about Florida Tech as well. And can everybody see the PowerPoint presentation?
Yes, I can see it. Thank you so much.
Awesome, terrific. So yeah, my name's Jordan. I cover North Florida territory for Florida Institute of Technology, or Florida Tech for short. So first and foremost about us, we are a STEM university. Kind of like a little background in history. We were founded in 1958 by Jerome P. Cooper. And so originally we started as a graduate school specifically for engineering because we're on the Space Coast. And so we were geared towards that initially. And ever since then, we've expanded to all the undergraduate and graduate offerings that we have today. So we are a small university, about 3,500 undergrad students, about 2,000 graduate students. There pictured, you can see the center of our campus with a lot of the academic buildings as well. And we're in Melbourne. So we are about 10 minutes away from the beach. We're halfway between Miami and Jacksonville. And we're about an hour away from Orlando too. So a very ideal location. Some students go to Disney on the weekends as well. So definitely a great place to live and also learn. So our four different colleges we offer. So we have our College of Aeronautics. You can see there one of our planes as well. So if you're ever on campus visiting for a tour and you go and see a plane with the red belly, red tips on the wings, those are one of our flight students working towards accumulating their flight hours for their commercial pilot's license as well. So we fly out of Melbourne Airport. It's about 10 minutes away from our campus. We have a shuttle that takes students to and from. But basically, we have flight simulators. We have our whole fleet as well. And so it is a very popular college that we do have. And also, if you ever attend the Sun and Fun Air Show, we'll have our planes on display. We'll also have our jet dragster on display too. And I'll talk more about that. We also have our College of Business. Our most popular, our College of Engineering and Science. You can see there our brand new Health Sciences building. And then our Psychology and Liberal Arts. And so aeronautics. So there's one of our planes. Excellent flying weather in Melbourne. We have aeronautical science, aviation management, the business side aviation, aviation meteorology. If you pair it with one of those majors, we do cut the flight time down from 1,500 to 1,000 hours for your restricted ATP as well. So that's always a great option. And definitely a great need for pilots, especially now. We do have a direct pathway to the airlines too. And so a lot of regional airports throughout the country. And so we are represented, our alumni, a lot of different airlines as well. So our College of Business, so we have, a variety of different concentrations to choose from. We also have a fast track MBA program. You can get your MBA in 4 or 5 years. And we also have the fast track master's program available to many of the other colleges as well. Majority of students end up taking advantage of that. It's a great way to kind of accelerate it, get your master's, and not have to, go back to school in the future if you're asked to move into management. So a lot of even engineering students will minor in business. They might fast track their MBA, other majors as well. So this is a great option even at a STEM university too. So this is really our bread and butter, our engineering. We have aerospace engineering is our most popular at the university. And so we are very well represented in the space industry. We had about 27 alumni that were working on the Artemis rocket. And so we are about 40 minutes away from NASA too. So some of our students intern there. And it's very hands-on, as you can see with all of our different engineering programs. We do have a student design center. And so basically every engineering student works on a student design project over their time here at Florida Tech. And they work in interdisciplinary teams. And so, because really for STEM, they want to see not only what you're doing in the classroom in terms of employers post-grad, they want to see how you apply what you're learning in the classroom. And so our students will build different projects and inventions that they work on. Then we have a student design showcase. You display your projects to employers. It's open to the public as well. We have biomedical engineering with a pre-med track. I'll also mention we do have a direct pathway straight into medical school through Burrell College of Osteopathic Medicine as well. And that's a great option to basically have a seat reserved for you into medical school. So we know how competitive that is to get into those programs. It's nice to know you have that spot already reserved. computer science for those interested in cybersecurity. They do not only defensive, but also offensive ethical hacking. And that's a great option to go into. Mechanical engineering, very versatile. We have a great partnership with Larson Motorsports. And so they're about 10 minutes away from campus. Our students build jet dragsters with a jet engine as well from scratch, and they compete all over the state of Florida, but a lot of different ways to apply and build and really get hands-on with our engineering majors. Plenty of science majors. Marine biology is a really interesting one. We do offer scuba diving and licensing for all of our students here at Florida Tech. They went on really cool field studies to the Galapagos Islands, Puerto Rico, as well, and they really get hands-on with their research. As you can see, we also have applied mathematics. We are now have a concentration in AI as well. So as that's developing, we're studying more of that as well. Astrobiology, astronomy, and astrophysics. We do have the second largest telescope in the state of Florida, the Ortega telescope. So that's a great way to kind of also be hands-on in that too. Psychology is really interesting. Forensic psych has really risen in popularity. We've had alumni go on to work for the FBI, CIA, different governmental agencies. And then under psychology, we have a lot of really cool concentrations. Animal behavior is an awesome one. We're about 25 minutes away from Brevard County Zoo, where a lot of our animal behavior psychologists intern there, get hands-on experience as well. But we also have clinical, industrial, neuropsychology, and social and cultural as well. And there's a picture of our Scott Center for Autism Treatment, where our psychology students have an opportunity, if they would like to intern there, to get hands-on experience as well. We also have multi-platform journalism, strategic communication, also pre-law, and we have a lot of music scholarships too. So if you're interested in music, we actually have a music minor where it's built into the curriculum too, but you can also add scholarships to it. And then here's our fast track masters, as I mentioned. We're huge on internships here, so you can take anywhere from 3 for 9 credits as you're studying. Majority of our students do get involved in that. And I'll also take time to mention we are a direct admission school, meaning whichever major you apply for, you start in that major right away from day one. I believe only 5% of colleges in the US, I believe it's the most recent statistic, are direct admission. And our students love that because they spend a majority of their time in the major. We're like bare minimum humanities. So really it's focused on what the student is interested in as well. And we highly encourage research, especially because we're a smaller school and you really get to know your professor and you're in smaller classrooms. We have plenty of research opportunities that you can take advantage of earlier on. And here's an example of our student design projects. You can see our Larson Motorsports dragster they're working on. They have a display where they display their projects. Athletics, we are Division II, Sunshine State Conference. So if you're interested in athletics, we have a recruit questionnaire on our website. We do have scholarships as well. They go directly to the coaches. We have basketball. Our men's and women's soccer team last year were both placed in the Final Four. We have swimming is a huge one, baseball. And so if you're interested, please check out our website and fill out the recruit questionnaire and reach out to the coaches as well. Here are an example of different companies our students have worked for previously. So Lockheed Martin is a big one. We're one of 5 universities on the East Coast that Microsoft directly recruits from. NASA is a huge one. I mentioned the FBI with our forensic psychology major. And so our admission process, pretty simple. We accept the Common App. We also have an application on our website. All we need is your high school transcript, either your SAT or ACT scores or CLT, which is pretty new. And then the essays optional, the letters of recommendation are optional. We do recommend them, but they're not needed. And so once we get those 3 things, we can move forward with the process as well. And then here's a look at our admitted student profile. We admit roughly about 60% of the applicants, the average GPA, SAT, and ACT range. And so we do accept advanced credit, AP, IB, dual enrollment. Please send us those as well. And so here are our housing options. We have apartment style, we have traditional style, and so plenty of different options. Students are required to be on campus for the first 2 years, but the nice thing is you can have your car on campus from freshman year. So because Melbourne's a really great area, we're close to downtown, we're close to the beach, as I mentioned, so a lot to do as well. And then we offer a lot of financial aid. We do accept Florida prepaid. Even though we are private, we do accept Bright Futures. If you qualify for upper tier Bright Futures, we have an amazing scholarship called Panther Distinguished, where you could get full tuition and fees covered. So please, if you're curious about that, ask me. It's an excellent scholarship as well. And we will put together a financial aid package. We have Army ROTC. We accept GI Bill benefits. And we highly encourage you to file the FAFSA and also apply for the Florida application for aid as well. And there's the presentation. If you have any questions, I would love to, answer as well. But definitely glad to share a little bit about Florida Tech and what we're about. And would love, if you have any other questions, you can always contact me or visit campus too.
So actually, we do have a question, and Gina, I appreciate this. You're being very inquisitive, and it's very helpful because a lot of times questions that you ask, other people are thinking, they just haven't asked them out loud yet. So Gina was asking, do students live mostly on campus or do many commute? Um, she said spacious apartment style housing available for underclassmen.
Yes, yes. So our Columbia Village, which is our apartment style, that is for freshmen as well, which is great. And we also have other apartment style options too. And so basically, if a student is within 50 miles of campus, they can commute. So that's a great question. If they're close to that, we'll definitely work with them as well. But if they're really far away, they are required to live on campus for the first 2 years.
I did notice actually that for a lot of the universities tonight, for all of you, that you do really encourage or require freshmen to be on campus for at least 1 to 2 years. Does anyone want to speak to why that is so important?
Yeah, I can do that. But any of us, all of us can hop in, obviously. All of us are like, us. I think it's a lot of it, and I think it's kind of probably the same for everybody. It's so much easier to get connected and make your friends and get that community sense and get plugged in. The quicker you get plugged in, honestly, most of the time, the more successful you are. And that's really our goal at the end of the day is for you to have a wonderful 4 years, graduate, get a good job, and eventually want to donate money back. So it's definitely living on campus just makes the proximity to these opportunities to meet people, get plugged in, get to know your professors just that much easier. And that's typically why we recommend living on campus, definitely for freshman year, or as long as you can. But obviously, everybody share.
Did anyone have anything they wanted to add? I thought that pretty much covered it. I know that for a lot of our families, when you are showing some of the cost of private colleges, that can be a little daunting. But I also want you to share why that shouldn't scare our families off. Like, why is it that, if I'm looking at a state school and I'm looking at a private college here in Florida, why should I still look at those private colleges when I see some of those numbers? Because they can look scary at first.
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing that Florida Tech does, and I'm sure others as well, is basically the financial aid package. So it's, it can cover merit-based scholarships, so based on your GPA and test score. We also add in Bright Futures. So here at Florida Tech, that stacks towards tuition as well. Also the EASE grant for attending a private university in the state of Florida. And also we accept outside scholarships. So there really is a lot of different things contributing to it that really add to it as well. And, a lot of times what happens is when everything's added together, or like someone might get an additional scholarship, let's say like here at Florida Tech, the Panther Distinguished Scholarship, they could end up getting a private education for the cost essentially of a public university as well. So I've seen that happen a lot over my almost 3 years at Florida Tech. So I definitely think it's something where fill out the FAFSA, fill out the Florida application for aid, go for Bright Futures. There's a lot that you can do. And then see when you get the financial aid package what the specifics are.
I think that's
Also,
great advice. Yes, please.
yeah, I was gonna, yeah, kind of building off of that. Financial aid packages are super helpful to give you really that like overall picture cost because the ticket price can be very daunting. But once you consider the different, merit scholarships, the EASE grant, that he mentioned as well, and any loans you could qualify for. It's really helpful to look at that. And we also do, as a lot of other schools probably do, cost comparison. So if you have like a financially package from one school and a financially package from another school, and you're looking at another school that offers you like, 25,000, 30,000, we also can like look at that to really give you that bottom line cost between the two schools. So I'll do like my own research on the other school. You could have 3 other financially packages that you want to submit to me, and I'll just put it on a spreadsheet and kind of put that together. So I think all of us counselors are really helpful in giving you that bottom line cost, because we understand that oftentimes it does come down to that, because you're working with your parents and or your guardians, and really understanding, the out of pocket costs. So yeah, I understand that can be very daunting, but we have lots of resources to help you through that process, because it can be very confusing and numbers can be very confusing sometimes. So I think all of us counselors are just, we really want to help you. Obviously, we want you to come to our schools, but really want to just give you that accurate picture between the other options you have as well, to make sure you're making the best financial decision, because finances, like I said, often does come down to that sometimes.
Thank you. I also noticed that in our chat, there were some questions too, just about, Liz was asking, her son is on several varsity teams and wants to get noticed. And so if I'm looking at a private university or a private college here in Florida, what is the best way to get noticed if you are an athlete and you really would like to be considered for some type of a sports scholarship?
Camps.
Oh,
Camps are the
okay, I
best way,
see
yeah. If you
lots of
can,
nodding going on,
yeah.
yes.
If you can get into a camp that's going to get you in front of coaches, it's going to share with you, okay, what does that facility look like? All those kinds of things. You can it's basically almost like an interview back and forth between both you and that place that's hosting the camp. But that's going to be your best way to get noticed, especially let's say if you're below that junior year. Coaches can't legally recruit you or speak with you really at all on that kind of level. Yeah, can't. No, camps. CAMPS camps. But they're not allowed to recruit students before that junior year. So if you're a freshman and sophomore and are pretty adamant about wanting that as being part of your collegiate experience, you can participate in a camp at any age. But you can't legally start being recruited by coaches until your junior year. So that gives the coach ample time to kind of get their eyes on you and determine, okay, they can see your growth over the years if you're consistent, if for sure you want to play at a certain college, being able to go to their camp consistently and show your growth in your sport is a great opportunity. But that's typically what I hear from my athletic directors, is camps are the best way to be seen.
So even if the student is a junior currently,
Yeah,
still the best way
absolutely.
to kind of get out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. So that I would definitely recommend go any schools that you're wanting to possibly be recruited at, go visit through admissions. We talk kind of thing. They know if we've been in contact, they can see your file. The more entries you can do, the better. If we're at a college fair at your high school, come talk with us. You're getting credit for those typically. As much kind of involvement on your end that we can see is going to be seen across the board, not just for athletics, but it does help overall. And most of the time, coaches' contact information is on the website. So,
And I was just to say, you're speaking of college fairs. I'm going to do a shameless plug because we have the OCPS Spring College and Career Fair is coming up February 21st, and that's a Friday. So this is really important that the parents that are on, as well as the students, understand that the reason we did that on a Friday is because we will be busing or providing buses for students from all 23 high schools to come that day during the day to meet with different college admissions reps. And then we're also providing an evening session, when I say evening, 4:30 to 6:30, so that families can come with their students and hopefully be able to see the same college reps. And we will have representatives there to talk to families and students about financial aid, about how you put, scholarship packages together. There'll be information for that. So that's my shameless plug for the OCPS Spring College and Career Fair. For any of our panelists who are on with us tonight, if you have not registered, I would be very happy to schedule to send out that link, because I would love to have all of you there. You've been absolutely wonderful tonight. We are going to wrap up because it is getting late. So if anyone has any questions, please go ahead and post them now in the chat. I do want to give another shout out to Colonial High School for being here, and for Jasmine, the parent engagement liaison, for putting that together. We had quite a few participants on tonight, and so we do appreciate the interaction and the help. If you have any questions about any of these universities and colleges that were here with us tonight, please look at the chat. The contact information is there. The website link is there in the chat. And all you have to do is start reaching out. I'm listening to every one of our panelists, and they couldn't be more approachable. And I think that's the key, is that when you have someone at each of these schools that sounds like they really care about you, and they are willing to give you time and willing to share their expertise. Winter Park High School is also with us tonight. Thank you, Winter Park High. Windermere High is present. So yeah, woohoo, thank you. We got lots of high schools showing up. We do have one quick question. It said prepaid tuition. The prepaid tuition, does that work with your private schools? I thought you all said it did, correct? And that's not like Bright Futures. Bright Futures gives you a partial part of the scholarship. But when you're talking about Florida prepaid, you get whatever is in that account, correct? It gets applied to private schools. So I see lots of heads shaking yes. So yes, so if you have a Florida prepaid account, know that it can be fully applied to any of these private colleges. Uh, Someone wants to know, Charles, how can they get a full ride to the University of Miami? So, and our Orange County Virtual School is with us as well. So, way to go. Lake Buena Vista High is present, Olympia, East River. We got a lot of great representation across the district here tonight. So, thank you all for being here. I would say, Danielle, is it? Go ahead, and Charles' contact information is in the chat. Reach out to Charles, and he will be able to tell you whether or not you qualify for a free ride, because that's what everybody's looking for. Meredith, thank you. We do appreciate Timber Creek is in the house, so thank you. A shout out to them. We're going to go ahead and sign off. Everyone, I do want to say thank you so much for your time and your expertise. You are invaluable in terms of being able to support our families and helping them support their children's future. And there's nothing more important than that. So have a wonderful night and take care, everyone. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks so much.